Just being a YouTube guru with this natural hair. What's up guys? So today I thought I would do an A-level/AS level advice video. So for a lot of you, school is starting again towards the end of August, September. And basically I thought this would be good. I've seen a lot of these videos and I've enjoyed them. And also I've always wanted to do one of these videos. So let's get started. The first thing that you want to do before you even start A-levels is just make sure that you've picked the subjects that you either enjoy or you know you're going to be successful at. If they are subjects that you just know, like I'm going to hate this, and you're just trying to push through just thinking, oh maybe it'll all work out, I don't think for A-levels it's going to work because it's so difficult. Those 2 years are going to feel like they have dragged. So make sure you pick subjects that you think you'll be successful at. Number 2 is don't be lazy from the start. So for a lot of us, procrastination and laziness is just something that comes naturally from like as soon as you start the A-levels. And I think for me, procrastination came because I found the work hard sometimes. But please, from the start, try not to be lazy. Keep up with your work, do the work you're set, revise. The more you keep up with the work, the easier it's going to be for you. Number 3 is use other resources except for just your textbooks and your teachers, especially if you're doing essay exams. So for example, I was doing psychology and I definitely needed other resources because the only exams were all essays, and I felt like in order to stand out, in order for your essay to be a little bit something different, or for you to even understand the work a bit more or to find easier studies to understand, I definitely needed other resources. So I used other books, I used the internet, and yeah, the internet is a great place. Google a lot of things. It's so much easier because sometimes you can find specifically what you want. I got a message. Number 4 is basically use YouTube videos. Watch YouTube videos, especially because they're a different way again of understanding the same topic. So for me, sometimes the things that my teacher would teach, I wouldn't understand the way she taught it. Or for me, I'm also a visual learner, so I enjoy, like the way I learn best is if I can physically like visualize things, because then when I'm answering questions I can kind of go off what I saw as opposed to what I heard. I feel like it's easier for me to remember. So definitely use YouTube videos, especially if you're doing things like biology, maybe maths, because a lot of the maths questions sometimes you need more than one just so you can understand. So it's kind of like YouTube tutorials in that sense, and you get another teacher's perspective, you get another resource. One thing that was important for me, and I think it's important for a lot of people, is to stay at the top of your class. So I don't mean be like the first and everything. I don't mean, great if you want to get A stars all over the place, but I definitely say, you know, like stay among the top. Be one of those people who are getting good grades, because for one, it's good motivation for you, and for 2, it stops you feeling like you're stupid. Sometimes if everybody else is getting it and you're just like then it just feels like, let me just give up right now. From the start, don't be discouraged if you get bad grades initially. A-levels from GCSE or from any other like form of education that you've been doing is a very big jump, and so initially you're not going to understand the way that they do it, unless you're a genius obviously, but you're not going to understand that the way that they require you to answer questions. So initially don't be discouraged if you get poor grades. Definitely work on it. Remember to ask your teachers, always say what can I do better. Look online again, because sometimes people online, they answer those kind of questions. But yeah, don't be discouraged from the start, because A-levels are very hard, but you will start to grasp it as the months go on and you get closer to exams. One thing that let a lot of people down at my school, I think, when you get to A-levels, people are turning 18 or people are getting a bit more freedom, so there's a lot more parties going on, there's a lot more things to do outside of school, and I just want to say, don't be afraid to say no to going to things, to go into events, because at the end of the day, prioritize your education. Parties will always be there, but your chance to do your A-levels will not always be there, so make sure that you prioritize. And you know, if you know you don't have the time to go out, if you know you don't have the time to be at this house party or whatever, then say no, you know, like make sure your work is your priority and everything else follows. Another thing is make sure you keep up with your schoolwork, do your homework, do assignments, revise, because definitely for A-levels at the start you will be overwhelmed by the amount of work that your teachers are throwing at you every single second. It's like you go to every subject. So for me at my school, I had 2 teachers for every subject. I did 4 subjects in AS and 3 in A2. That's the usual way they do it. And basically every teacher was like, at every lesson was giving me homework, and this was like every time I had them, they were giving me work to do, homework, things to do online, and it just gets overwhelming. And it gets even more overwhelming if you procrastinate them again and try to do them at a later date. So do work as soon as it is given to you. Not only will it just help you keep up with the rest of the class so you're not demotivated, but it helps you understand it's another way to revise. I don't see why you would turn down extra resources. To be honest, at some points it did feel a bit forceful because the type of revision, like homework we were asked to do, it wasn't really my style, but I still did it anyway because I'm sure a bit of information still stuck. Don't be embarrassed to sit on your own. I'm one of those people, I don't even care. Like, I will sit at my own at school, go to the library, sit on your own, do your work on your own, because that's the only way you're probably going to focus the best. So sometimes I would sit with friends and it would be fun and I'd enjoy it, but then I'd get the least work done, you get distracted, and you know, that's during free periods of course. But definitely don't be afraid to sit on your own, go at lunchtime, sit on your own, do your work, catch up, and make sure you're just on track, because at the end of the day, A-levels is not about making friends, because after 2 years you're probably not going to see a lot of these people after. So you know, and I'm sure a lot of people understand that all in the same situation. They don't expect you to spend as much time with them. So yeah, don't be afraid to say no to sitting with your friends for the sake of your work. Another tip is make sure you use your free periods wisely. Use them, use them, use them. So for me, a lot of the time I use my free periods to do the homework, maybe do a little bit of revision, and that's because when I got home I was just tired, or I was distracted, or just something was coming up, and I just didn't basically have the time as much to do work outside of school. So definitely use your free periods. Don't be lazy in your free periods. Another thing I would say is not necessarily revise from the start, but make sure you understand the work from the start. Keep on top of your work as soon as basically you start your A-levels. That the more you understand, the easier it will either be for you to revise, or the less you'll have to revise when it comes to exams. But definitely, more than anything, bare minimum, make sure you understand what's in your textbooks, because especially for biology, chemistry, and maybe physics, I didn't do physics, but I don't know, but definitely for biology and chemistry, a lot of the things that were in textbooks are the things that were basically in exams, maybe just a bit more difficult, a bit more application. But make sure you definitely understand. Again, ask your teachers for help, look online, ask your friends. And also, while we're on that topic, do past papers. Now for me, I prefer to do past papers after I've kind of revised, because then I definitely know this is what I still need to go back on, or this is what I understand. But definitely at some point, make sure you've done as many past papers as possible, because past papers, they are what help you basically understand the exam. They help you understand what the examiner is looking for. So if you can get your hand on as many past papers as possible, then you'll help yourself. And lastly, take time out to relax. A-levels are probably the most stressful thing I've ever had to, and I'm gonna not lie to you, you are gonna cry at some point in your A-level experience. But definitely take time out to relax. Take time out to hang out with friends, just to keep your sanity, because otherwise you don't want to be too consumed with school and to the point where it's just it makes you sick of it. Because if it makes you sick of it, then you're not going to be motivated. The most important thing for me is make sure you pray. Make sure you remember that God is with you through all of this. If this is something that He brought you to, He'll bring you through. So definitely make sure you pray. Remember that He's got your back. He's gonna help you, and have faith and stand strong, and you will succeed. I promise you. God is good and he will always be good. I think that's it from me. A lot of the things that I've said are things that have probably been said in a lot of the other videos, and that's because that is basically what you have to do. A-levels takes a lot of energy, takes a lot of focus, a lot of motivation and drive. And ultimately, just remember what you're there for. You're there to get your grades and you're there to do the best that you can. If you've got specific goals that you want to achieve, for example, if you want to go to medicine school, that's a good way to keep your focus, is to focus on that and remind yourself why you're there. If you would like me to do an exams tip, like revision tips and advice, definitely comment down below. But as for now, that is it for this video. I will see you in my next video. Bye!